Dun, 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 dun. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. It's close to midnight, and something's creeping out the dark. Under the moonlight, you see that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. You start to freeze as horror looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed because it's thriller night. I don't know the rest of the words. Hello, and in today's video we are doing predictions for match day number 10. It is here. I apologise, I've been quite late with them previously, but we get it out here. It's got to be done on a nice Friday night feast of football. But will it be a bloody feast of eye-popping stuff, you know, just blood everywhere? It's Halloween on Sunday. Do tune in to the Premier League fixtures. Will they be spooky or will they be Timu Pookie? But let's get into my predictions for this time around. Before we do though, let's look back at how we got on in match week number 9. And thanks for all those that commented on the video and liked the video. Really do appreciate the support recently. Let's try and push up to 140 subs in the next couple of months. 119, but I know we can get there. Spread the word. If you're interested in Premier League football and Watford, anything basically, then do give me a subscribe. It really does help me out and I really appreciate it. So yeah, we did get a nice comment from the Indian football coach, TIFC. Appreciate that, mate. Thanks for the compliment. Good job, well done. I do my best with the time I've got. And I did have a look to see how the Dugout Football channel got on in his predictions that he did on his channel. But before we do that, let's just recap how things were after match week 8. So after week 8, we had the Douglas Football channel on 89 points because he scored 8 that week. And then I was on a total of 85 after getting 12 points. And then in third, we had Potclock Football on 21 points. Decent stuff. We had Footy Tom in fourth on 15 points. Then in fifth was Pav Kapoor on 12 points. In sixth was Chris Welch with his decent 11 points. And in seventh, with 8 points, was Sport Cat 01. But how did I and Douglas get on in the predictions? We will reveal. So Arsenal Aston Villa, we went for a 3-2 Gunners win. We were this close for that being correct. But Ollie Watkins had to go and miss a big chance at the end. And Villa, I tell you what, they weren't that bad. But Arsenal, deservedly the better team. They really are looking resurgent at the minute. Emil Smith-Rowe, fantastic. Aubameyang keeps on scoring at home, even if it was after a missed penalty. And yeah, really good goals. The first Premier League goal for Thomas Partey got the party started on my last weekend, which was birthday weekend, of course. That was really good. And Watford gave me a nice present with a wonderful win at Goodison Park. 5-2. Unbelievable. But in terms of this game, very unlucky. 1 goal away. But I was kind of hoping for the 3-2, but didn't score the second goal, Aston Villa, and we got 1 point for the correct result there. We also went for a 4-0 Chelsea win. Not too far off, but it was 7-0. Absolute drubbing. And no goal in that match for Kai Havertz or assist. Instead, we had defenders picking up goals like Reece James and Ben Chilwell and Callum Hudson-Odoi with a rare goal. So that's good to see he's getting more minutes because he deserves it. But once again, correct result. We said Palace to beat Newcastle. Now this was an interesting one. A lot of people would have backed it. But fair enough. Newcastle, they get another point. And Callum Wilson with a goal. And it's a good goal. Like, that's an actual blinder of a goal from Callum Wilson. Bicycle kick. And it's clever. It's really, really clever. Into the top corner. And the Palace goal, I mean, look, it's Christian Benteke. It's what he does. It's bread and butter. He loves a header. And he always seems to just get those headers in the back of the net. So fair play. But I didn't get that prediction correct. So That means that I, of course, scored 0 points in that game. But we also predicted a Watford win. Yes, it's got to be done. We've got to be back in the boys. And we did get that win. I went with a 2-0 Watford win, with goals coming on the day from, first of all, a little bit of Joao Pedro, I do believe. I'm trying to look at it now. I can't actually remember who I predicted to score, but I think it was Joao Pedro. And it was also a bit of Ismail Assar. But it didn't matter because we got the dub 5-2. And Sarr actually came off in that game, and we still had the impact off the bench. Dennis, with a really composed goal, just completely mugged off Seamus Coleman, and a really amazing hat-trick for Joshua King. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come and that he can keep on that form, because we need a striker that's going to score goals like the days of Odion Ighalo and Troy Deeney. So now we're going to talk about the game that was the Leeds game. So whilst I only got a correct result in that Watford one, we didn't get anything in the Leeds one, and I think a lot of people would have backed a Leeds win based on the fact they were at home and Wolves were conceding goals. But fair enough, Hwang Hee-chan is in great form, and Leeds, they'll think that that is a point gain because they were not playing that well, and it's a last gasp penalty from Rodrigo. He kept his nerve fantastically there, but no points for me. I also went with a Southampton win. I thought they would finally hold on, but they just keep seeming to let Leeds slip, Southampton. And brilliant 2 goals from the absolute wonder kid. I don't know how he's managed to find his way at Burnley, but Maxwell Cornet looks a fantastic player, and 2 really good goals. Armando Broja as well, carrying on his form for the Saints, but he is ruled out of this weekend's game at Watford, so that is a big relief for Watford. We also saw a first goal in the Saints colours for Valentino Livramento. He's such a young kid and he looks absolutely brilliant, so fair play to him. Brighton, Man City, I went with the 2-1 Man City, and that was just a correct result, so nothing special there. But 1 point. We said a 2-1, and it was, of course, 4-1. Brentford against Leicester. I backed a big draw, and I thought it was going to be a high scorer. I nearly got it right. I went with the 2-2. It was a 2-1 win to Leicester. What a goal from Yuri Tielemans. And a first Maddison goal of the Premier League season. And look, fair enough, Brentford, they're a good side, and they're going to run teams close this season, certainly, but Leicester just had that killing instinct, whereas Brentford, they had chances they really couldn't convert. West Ham, with a really good win against Spurs. I didn't see that coming either. I thought another 2-2 draw. Fair enough, Spurs were awful, and West Ham deserved their win, but it's just classic Antonio, isn't it? He loves a goal against Tottenham, and he's a goal poacher. He's a fox in the box, and he always just is alert to the situation. And loved that celebration. The Matrix. Love it. And then, of course, Manchester United, Liverpool. Look, Man United fans, give a Man United fan today some money. Like, you know the number to call for their support, because they need it right now. They are in the depths of that absolute joke of a team that is just a bunch of individuals that don't know what they're doing. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is somehow still at the club. So he will do what he can to get them wrapped up and riled and motivated, but it's a big task. They've got a lot of big personalities in that team, and they were awful in that Liverpool game. Pogba just completely off his head, and what a performance from Liverpool. They get 5 goals away from home for the second game in a row, and now they got Brighton at home. Liverpool, they could go all the way this season for sure. So that was no points for me in those last 3 games. So it wasn't a great week. And I'm being honest, it was an absolute embarrassing week for me in the predictions. Just 4 points. So that's only 4 correct results. But how did Douglas get on? Well, I can in fact reveal that for the Aston Villa Arsenal game, he went with Arsenal 0, Aston Villa. Yeah, hang on. Wait for it. Are you ready? I don't think you are. Yeah, he did. He goes for Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 0.
Chelsea 3, Norwich 0.
Oh, sorry. It seemed to have come up there for no reason. I think he went for 2-0 Villa. So anyway, he got that wrong. He went for 3-0 Chelsea win, so fair enough. That's a correct result. So 1 point there. You're like, fair enough. That makes sense. He also went for a Palace win by 2-0. That didn't happen. So he's only on 1 point at this point. Everton against Watford. What did he think? Well, of course, he's a Liverpool fan, but you would, as any normal football fan predict an Everton win. But we were amazing, and we absolutely bossed Everton. We were looking so much better than Liverpool's game. And yeah, didn't get that right. So still only on 1 point from this week's predictions. We also had his prediction for Leeds Wolves. He went with a 1-0 Wolves win, and that, of course, was seconds from being right, but I'm afraid still the 1 point for you. He also went with a 1-1 draw with Southampton Burnley, so got a correct result here. Well done. So that is 3 points for the correct goal difference. Now you're on to 4, but you said a 0 Brighton, Manchester City 2. Well, it's another correct result. You're on to 5 points. Brentford against Leicester. You went with a interesting Leicester City 1-1 draw, so no points there. You're still on 5. West Ham against Spurs, 2-1 to West Ham. Fair play for backing them, because I thought Spurs would win that one. But yeah, another correct result. But actually, it's a correct goal difference as well, because they won 1-0. So fair play. That is putting you on to 8 points, I do believe, if I've counted that correctly. And Manchester United, of course, won. Liverpool 3. He's going to back his own team. Another correct point. So that, I think, finishes him on 9 points. I don't know if I've corrected that, calculated that correctly. Let me know if I've made a mistake, because I'm not very good with my maths. But the point is, 9 points, as far as I'm aware, puts you on an overall score after week 9 of 98 points. And I, with my pathetic 4 points, have now got an overall total of 89. So, not great at all. We really have a lot of catching up to do, much better in terms of the standings, and obviously from 3rd to 7th, we already know the drill. So this week's games, what are we saying? Well, we start off with a very interesting match at the King Power between Leicester City and Arsenal. Now, this is on BT Sport. Do watch it if you're interested. It is, of course, Halloween weekend, and as, of course, that was the song of the week, Thriller by Michael Jackson, the theme has to be Halloween. Let's not be silly here. And also the theme is The Night Before Christmas. And I'm not saying it's Christmas theme, because that's a while away, but there is very spooky elements to The Night Before Christmas. If you haven't watched the film, do check it out. But yeah, absolute tune of a song from Jackson there. But yeah, will you be lighting your jack-o'-lanterns this coming Sunday? I hope so. Anyway, now we have the big old match between Leicester and Arsenal, and I'm going for a very interesting draw in this game. I think Leicester, off the back of that win against Brentford, will be feeling confident. They've been doing well pretty much in their Europa League involvements, whereas Arsenal, they're in good form. So Leicester have been scoring goals, Arsenal have been scoring goals, and they're not the best defences, either of them. So I can see a bit of an exciting one here. Leicester City 2, Arsenal 2. And goals here, I'm going to say Aubameyang gets the first goal of the weekend. He loves to play Leicester. And then Vardy scores the equaliser. He loves to play Arsenal. And then the second goal for Leicester City, I'm predicting, will come from Yuri Tielemans. He's on a roll. And then the second goal for Arsenal to make it 2-2 on the day, I'm going for a goal coming from none other than the surprise package, perhaps. But it's a defender this time. And it's going to be... yes, it is Gabriel. Right, let's move on to the match that is between the likes of Aston Villa and West Ham. And this game is on Sunday, Sky Sports. Could be a cracker. Now, Villa come into this off the back of a really disappointing loss to Arsenal. But they know that at home, they'll fancy themselves. West Ham with a very good win over Spurs. But I just feel like Aston Villa, they're defensively not the same team as they were last season. Obviously, Martinez had a personal issue in the week, but he's travelled back, so he's going to play this match. And I think West Ham, they just look a really good team. Antonio's keeping on scoring the goals, and West Ham, they just find a way, despite a lack of squad depth. But Alex Crowell could come in for a game, we never know. He did play in midweek in the Carabao Cup penalty win over Man City. So let's find out. But I'm saying Villa 1, West Ham 3. And Villa to score first, actually. I'm going to say that Villa do get their goal through Ollie Watkins. Because he did, of course, score in this fixture last season. But we're going to say goals for West Ham. One from Antonio. The second one is Jared Bowen. And the third one, Aaron Cresswell. Right, let's move on quickly to Manchester City versus Crystal Palace at the Etihad. I'm backing a Man City win because, look, they're looking unbelievable at the minute. They still keep on winning points, sorry, and scoring goals, and they don't actually need to have a striker. Like Gabriel Jesus, who's he? He doesn't score a lot, but they don't need him. They're unbelievable, and look, their team is just very scary. Like, it's hard to stop. And Jack Grealish has not really got going yet, so just imagine when he does, what their team could be like. I'm not sure if they'll get Kane in the January window, but do they need him? Let's be honest. They've got such a strong defence, and they're scoring goals. And look, that game that they've had last week, they looked impressive. Like, their performance levels, they can get up a few more gears than that, really. So, yeah, very good win over Brighton. I'm saying that they will get the comfortable 4-0 win. Palace won't play badly, because they're a good side, Palace. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, as a Watford fan, we have a bit of a rivalry going on. But Vieira's, got some good players in there. They just need to hold a lead a bit more and score a few more goals, especially away from home. It hasn't really been the same as from when they start the season. But I'm still saying that Palace, they'll struggle in this kind of tough fixture. 4-0 goals will come from Man City from Kevin De Bruyne. The second goal for Manchester City, Joao Cancelo. Then a goal for Bernardo Silva. And the last goal for Manchester City, I'm going to say another one from Joao Cancelo. Who believe it? Now, we move on to the match between Watford and the Saints, Southampton. Now, this is an interesting one. Come into this, obviously, with a really good win against Everton. That has got to be our driving factor. We've got to produce the same kind of passion, same kind of performance as that game. And Southampton, obviously, will be gutted that they went ahead through Armando Broja, then went another goal from Livramento, and look, they haven't got Broja for this game. Armstrong, he's not been playing recently, but he could play, I don't know. The ultimate thing is, though, Southampton haven't been scoring enough goals. They have been leaking some of them, and although McCarthy's put in a few good performances, they don't look like a team that's necessarily winning enough games. Now, their defence has had much more improvement recently. The likes of Mohamed Salisu and your likes of, Bednarek and Perraud have really stored up that defence. But I just think off the back of that, we have to be confident. So I think Watford will dictate the game. And unlike the Liverpool game, take it to the opposition. Really try and get the home fans on their feet, cheering and trying to dominate. But I think it's going to be a tight one, because both teams will be nervous. They know what's at stake here. Southampton will be down there just like us at the end of the season in this relegation scrap. So I'm saying Watford 1, Southampton 0. We haven't got a clean sheet yet, and I think this is the time for that to finally end. But I think it will be a very tight game. Southampton hit the crossbar with an effort from Che Adams in the first half, very specific. And then in the second half, Southampton go down to 10 men with a red card for Mohamed Salisu, a bit uncharacteristic that, in the 67th minute. But then Watford do grab their goal with the one-man advantage, and it is, who else but Ismaila Sarr, Watford's talisman, the Senegalese winger. We need him as much as we can before he goes off to the Africa Cup of Nations, and he'll get a goal on 81 minutes. He, of course, scored his debut goal for the Hornets in this fixture, but it was at St Mary's. So let's do it at the place we call home, Vicarage Road. Now, we've got the matchup between the teams of Tottenham and Man United, and this is a biggie, for sure. It is not the El Clasico, it's the El Sacico. And what I mean by that is two managers under pressure for the sack. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it's, of course, Nuno Espirito Santo. Now, Spurs have had a weird season. They started it really well. They weren't brilliant, but they got rugged and hard-fought performances into their points and getting the clean sheets. So you kind of thought, yeah, decent start. But then they lost 3-0 and they conceded 3 goals for 3 games in a row against Palace, against Chelsea and against Arsenal. You'd say, all right, the Arsenal fixture, it's always going to be, could go one way or the other. The Palace fixture, you'd expect better, and the game against Chelsea may be a tough one. But still, the performances were not good. They beat Newcastle, much needed, of course. And just then, recently, they beat Villa as well. And then, obviously, last week, they were not good enough against West Ham. So there's a lot of up and downs with Spurs at the minute. And I think going into this game, they need to prove a point. They need to show that, they're not just as bad as Manchester United were last week. And it's a big week for Manchester United to say, hang on, we've got a good team. We can fight back and actually show some bottle, really. So, unfortunately for Manchester United fans, I'm going to say a Spurs win. I just think, although both teams aren't in a great place right now, that Man United are in even a worse place. So, I'm going to say Spurs 3, Man United 1. Man United to score first, though. And I think this will be a goal that doesn't always come around, but I think he deserves more credit. He often scores against Spurs, actually, especially when it's away to Spurs, and that is Marcus Rashford. But the goals for Tottenham Hotspur will come from Harry Kane, then a goal from an unlikely source, but it's Lucas Moura, and then the third goal for Tottenham Hotspur, I'm predicting, will come from... No, not Eric Lamela. He's no longer at the club. Instead, it is going to be Oliver Skipp. Now, it is Wolves versus Everton, Monday Night Football. What am I saying for this game? I think that, honestly, Bruno Lage needs to get them getting more wins, but the front two have just really combined well. Hwang Hee-chan and Raul Jimenez. He's back in his form. He's not quite the same player, but he's starting to get a bit more confidence. And, of course, they're linking up really, really nicely. Now, Everton, absolute shambles last week. Watford played well, and they made them look bad, Watford, but still, Everton would have expected to do better against a promoted team, and they just got absolutely sliced open on the counter-attack, and I don't know why they took off Demarai Gray, I'll be honest, because when that happened, Watford played really well and took the game away from Everton. So, defensively, a shambles in that match, and they need to respond. But I think that actually Everton will do that, and they'll get a nervy win. Ugly stuff, but Ranieri, obviously, he knows how to do the bits. He's very experienced, whereas you'd expect that as well from Benitez, but he didn't show that in the Watford game, so I think he will show it in this one. Wolves 0, Everton 1, and keeping that clean sheet with a goal coming for Everton from Demarai Gray. And now it is a match between the Knights of Newcastle and Chelsea. Now, of course, Newcastle still looking for a manager, Chelsea top of the league. That can only mean one thing, right? I think so, but Callum Wilson's in fantastic form, so watch out for him. And, of course, watch out for Kai Havertz. Didn't do anything last week, but he is playing up front. Surely he can do something this time. But I'm saying Newcastle 1, Chelsea 2. And I think Wilson will get the opening goal of the game. But then I think Chelsea will equalise with a goal coming from Antonio Rudiger with a bullet header. And then the second goal for Chelsea, this is a tough one, I'll be honest, because there's not a lot of Chelsea players that are fit right now to play. But what we will go for is a cheeky little goal from Christensen. Maybe. Norwich v Leeds next, and this is a big game, of course. Two teams flirting with relegation, but it's very early days in the season. But Leeds haven't been scoring enough goals. They've conceded a lot, and Norwich just haven't done any of this. They have been awful this season, so it's a big day for Norwich. Can Pukki step up to the plate? Because, that's really their realistic hope of doing something. Now, Leeds, they have been conceding, but obviously the last kind of game, they think it's a point gained. I honestly think they have to win this game. If they can't get a few past Norwich City, then it really will be a tough one for Bielsa this season. Second season syndrome could be a factor, but I'm going to say Leeds get the job done, and they do it ugly. Norwich 0, Leeds 1, but it won't be an ugly goal. It'll be a top corner finish from a free kick from Rafinha. He's back in action after that horror tackle he got in the Wolves game. Now, I'm going to say that the next game, it's a nice little draw between Burnley and Brentford, 1-1. And I think Burnley will get the first goal, and that will be through, Cornet. But then the goal for Brentford is a scorpion kick. Yeah, you heard it here first, from Ivan Toney. Wow. Now we're going to move on to Liverpool versus Brighton, and I'm backing a Liverpool win. Of course, they're in great form, and Brighton, they'll give it a go, but Liverpool are just so strong, and one man in particular, Mohamed Salah, is impossible to stop. Doesn't matter who he's playing, you might as well just not even bother. Liverpool 3, Brighton 0, and to score the first goal for Liverpool, Roberto Firmino, then it's Mohamed Salah, and then who's going to score next for the Reds? It's a tough one, I've got to be honest, but I'm going to go for a little bit of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Those are my predictions. I think that's all of them. For match week number 10 of the 2020-21 to 22 season. As I mentioned, do get your score predictions in the comment section below to have your chance of being entered in the Predictions League. And just like the Dugout Football channel, who always gets his predictions in, you will get a shout out in the next predictions video. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.